Hello and welcome everybody to today's session of the World Coffee Conclave. Today we are going to be talking about a business that is specific to many countries, and this is where the world of coffee lies. It's about waking you up in the morning, keep you awake during the day, and giving you a sound sleep during night. So today in this session we have some eminent speakers from all over the globe who specialize in the business of coffee. I would like to welcome Her Excellency Mariana Pancho Montes, the Ambassador of Colombia, His Excellency Jason Hall Keats, the Ambassador of Jamaica to India, His Excellency Giovanni Castillo, Ambassador of Guatemala to India, His Excellency Claudio Ansorenza, PhD, Ambassador of Costa Rica to India. We are also joined today by Mr. Dr. K. Baswaraj from the Coffee Board of India and Mr. G.D. Raja from the ICIB South Zone, who's been spearheading the business of coffee and today's event. With this, I would like to begin today's session, and I would like to inform all a few lines about the Indian Chamber of International Business. We are a group of association, a combination of people across sectors and spread across 42 countries. We are present in India in about 8 states, and we have been working with various governments and private bodies to promote international trade and business. We would like to now concentrate today on the business of coffee. With this, I would like to call for the opening remarks Her Excellency Mrs. Mariana Pacheco, the Ambassador of Colombia. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening to everyone. Ambassador of Guatemala, Giovanni Castillo, Ambassador of Costa Rica, Dr. Claudio Ansorena, High Commissioner of Jamaica, Jason Hall, Dr. K. Basavaraj, Head of Coffee Quality, Coffee Board of India, Mr. Manpreet Singh, my friend, President of India Chamber of International Business. Dear friends and colleagues, I wish to thank the Coffee Board of India and the Indian Chamber of International Business for organizing this special session. I am deeply honored to speak in the opening session of this coffee conclave and of course about coffee, a product that has given so many positive and significant outcomes to the Colombian people. The industrialization of Colombia is very much tied to the history of the Colombian coffee, as this product paved the way for the economic development of our country, its exports, and the generation of rural and urban jobs. Coffee still provides a livelihood for over 550,000 jobs, Colombian families. After 300 years of history of coffee growing, our beans mean much more than a mere economic activity. They also mean a way of life, a cultural practice, and of course, a deep root of our national identity. Our history is that of Juan Valdez, a coffee grower created in the 50s as a fictional character to distinguish 100% Colombian coffee from other countries, while establishing it as an international brand. Juan Valdez typically appears with his mule Conchita, carrying sacks of the best and premium harvested Colombian coffee beans in the world. On the other hand, June 25 of this year marked the 10th anniversary of UNESCO's declaration of the Colombian coffee cultural landscape as a heritage to humanity. This heritage includes an area of 51 municipalities in various coffee regions of Colombia, in which for generations a sustainable production system has been consolidated around coffee growing, along with a particular social and cultural tradition, of course, all around the culture of coffee growing. Allow me to stress, Colombia has the only living and dynamic coffee cultural scenery in the world, which over the last 20 years, it has acquired an enormous touristic value in which it combines the economy of the coffee region with a warm hospitality coffee to the world Before the COVID-19 pandemic, 2019, the region hosted more than 250,000 tourists, breaking all records in both domestic and foreign tourism. So let me welcome you to visit our Colombian coffee region, UNESCO World Heritage. And now let me talk about coffee. Colombia is the third largest coffee producer in volume terms, third largest exporter of coffee in the world, and the world's leading producer of soft and specialty coffees, which stand out for their origin, planting techniques, manual harvesting, and premium qualities. The national variety is Arabica, which is exceptional for various factors: higher acidity and softness, better quality of infusion, intense aroma, and lower concentration of caffeine, which makes it an exceptional and healthier option. Like Indian coffee, Colombian coffee is cropped in small plots of land along 3,000 kilometers of the inter-Andean valleys. It is produced in regions with different climatic and geographic characteristics, which gives its attributes that make it preferred by connoisseurs around the world. In recent years, and thanks to the research and development of Senicafe, we have achieved better densities, lower plantation ages, and sustained productivity growth. These are some of our findings: an average density of evolution of 4,923 trees per hectare, an average tree evolution of 6.5 years, and an average production of 13.9 bags of 60 kilograms per hectare. On the supply side, we have the privilege of having separate harvest in the first and second semester, which allows for a reliable and good quality stock. Colombian coffee is indeed synonymous with resilience. In 2020, a year hit by the COVID pandemic, Colombia's coffee production reached 13.9 million bags, exports reached 12.5 million bags, and the value of the harvest reached $2.3 billion, the highest in the last 20 years. Our production reached 106 different countries in the world, allocating 49.3% of the exported bags in the United States and Canada, 31% in Europe and Africa, 18% in Asia and Oceania, and 1.3% in Central and South America. This was a major achievement, considering that the current situation requires us to observe social distancing and COVID protocols. In fact, we were forced into a coffee harvest where hundreds of thousands of collectors had to adapt in a matter of days to a new working culture. Colombian coffee has crossed many borders, including those countries that have a tradition of tea drinking, such as Japan and China. But yet in India, we still have challenges ahead. As reference, India imported 78,000 tons of green coffee in 2019, with an approximate value of $111 million. Total of this value, Colombia only represented 0.3%. But yet Colombia sees a coffee cup to be filled, not empty. One, we're seeing a growing trend in coffee consumption by the educated and well-informed, and of course, aspirational young Indians who appreciate coffee for its quality and also for the lifestyle that it represents. Colombian coffee faces very high tariffs in India and non-tariff barriers. For example, green coffee is subject to 120.5% tariff and roasted coffee at 64% tariff. As for non-trade barriers, the Indian Department of Plant Protection requires us to fumigate our coffee with methyl bromide, a chemical product which is banned in many countries, including Colombia. That being said, we're very passionate and we believe that we can overcome this issue step by step, encouraging both Colombian and Indian entrepreneurs to work together in the immediate opportunities that lie ahead. At the higher end of the supply chain, there is an ample space for investment in freeze-drying coffee facilities, café leofilizado, a process which maintains the natural properties of the coffee, such as aroma. Colombian coffee is known for its aroma and taste, and additionally adds longer shelf life. This is a great opportunity for joint collaboration as customers are demanding healthier products that maintain their natural and nutritional properties. There is a package of special benefits that the government of Colombia is offering to investors in the agricultural sector, such as 0% tariff rate for the import of agricultural machinery, lines of credit to finance all activities related to agro-industry, support services, income tax exemptions in rural projects, as well as VAT exemptions in some agro-tourism projects, such as in the coffee region. Conclusion, there is no restriction for foreign investors to invest in any Colombian coffee projects. We have identified many opportunities in specialty coffee crops, responding to growing demand in international markets. Coffee is considered special when it is perceived by consumers as unique and differentiated by its organoleptic characteristic, differentiating it from conventional coffee and thus making it more valuable. This is Colombian 100% coffee. Likewise, there are growing crops in regions specialized in the production of single origin and sustainable coffee to satisfy this growing international demand. Again, this is the 100% Colombian coffee brand, as coffee whose denomination of origin protection was declared since 2005 thanks to natural and environmental factors, among others. Therefore, let me invite you to include Colombian coffee in your portfolio of business, either in investment, import, or retail. Keep in mind that Colombia excels in Latin America for its access to the Indo-Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, its long tradition of sound macroeconomic policies, and its portfolio of 17 free trade agreements, which have opened the doors for Colombia in coffee in many regions of the world. We're also aware that India has all the potential to collaborate with Colombia in increasing productivity. Agrotech solutions, irrigation systems, and agrochemicals are an important part of this equation. Indian companies like UPL have installed production facilities in both the Pacific and Caribbean areas of Colombia and are also exporting to many markets in the region. In this respect, I would like to highlight that success is built on the generation of collaboration, strategic alliances between both parties, and therefore, this embassy, the Colombian embassy, has the full purpose of facilitating any communication between Colombian coffee growers and Indian entrepreneurs. We very much want to see our trade and commerce grow, and what a great way to promote it with a cup of Colombian coffee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you so much for the enlightening information about Colombia, its trade, and especially its coffee. Like you rightly mentioned, this is the time where to a coffee nation like India, how can you sell or how can you expand with a coffee that is from another part of the world? So definitely we will be more than happy to have Colombian coffee in India and any other coffee from South America. Of course, that goes without saying that they're subject to all the tariffs, all this. But in spite of that, I'm very sure that it's a huge market and India is a huge country, and I'm sure we have the appetite for a lot of different things on our table and palette. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. With this, we would like to have another perspective from South America and Caribbean, a different type of coffee from a different part of the world. I'm sure we must have all at some point of time heard about the Blue Mountain coffee. Well, the Blue Mountain coffee is from Jamaica. And today, to talk about Jamaica and its coffee, we have with us His Excellency Jason Keats Hall, the ambassador of Jamaica to India. Welcome, Your Excellency. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. Good evening to everyone, and allow me to adopt the protocols that have been observed so that we can get right to the meat of the matter. Um, as the son of a former coffee farmer and as Jamaica's first resident High Commissioner to India, it is indeed an honor to present to you today on this special day, this special week, which we call affectionately in Jamaica, Emancipendence. It marks 183 years of emancipation from slavery and 59 years of independence from Britain. So it's a very special occasion. Jamaica, as many of you should be aware, like India, is a land of superlatives, which is often confounding when you think about the size of Jamaica versus the other countries that we outrank. We have a tremendous legacy of excellence in sport. The fastest man, fastest woman on the planet come from Jamaica. And of course, I refer to the legendary, the Honorable Usain St. Leo Bolt, triple Olympic gold medalist and world record holder, as well as Elaine Thompson-Herah, newly minted double Olympic champion in the 100 and 200 meters, and the first woman in history to do so, by the way, breaking the 100-meter record along the way. Of course, it's important to mention that because the Olympics are underway, and we are in fact about to get on the track for the 4x100 and 4x400 relays. So we certainly wish everybody all the best. Jamaica, it should be noted, has been on the podium in at least one of these disciplines in every single Olympics of the modern era, second only to the US in number of medals won on the track. In fact, the last 3 Olympics, not including this one, Jamaica's won a little over a third of all the available medals to be won. Culturally, Jamaica is a global superpower alongside the US and the UK in terms of musical output and popular culture influence. In fact, Time magazine's album of the century and the BBC Song of the Millennium are reggae songs authored by one of our most famous Jamaicans, Bob Marley, tribute to both the man and the impact of music, which I dare say is more than a genre, but a social movement. So we're here to talk about coffee, and in light of this very brief introduction, it's little surprising that our Blue Mountain coffee is among the most prized in the world. It's uniquely elegant, you know, a well-balanced cup with a floral aroma and a velvety smoothness, a truly refined taste to the connoisseur. And I certainly hope you all will get a chance to sample it. Blue Mountain coffee is cultivated in the Blue Mountain Range in Jamaica. The Blue Mountains, together with the John Crow Mountains, are considered to be, and I quote here, of outstanding universal value in terms of their cultural and natural heritage, and are part of the 78 most irreplaceable protected areas for conservation of the world's amphibian, bird, and mammal species, and was thus declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. Not all coffee grown in and around this range is considered authentic Blue Mountain coffee. In order to be considered Blue Mountain coffee, your coffee must be grown between 3,000 and 5,500 feet above sea level. This extra altitude provides a micro ecosystem which makes the beans harder and denser than the average bean, making them similar in texture to what is known in the industry as pea berries. And of course, the result is a coffee that is admired for the smooth, clean profile, vibrant acidity, and almost non-existent bitterness. The aroma of Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee tends to have notes of sweet herbs and florals with overtones of nuts. It's truly a pleasure. There are about 10,000 coffee farms that produce Blue Mountain coffee and High Mountain coffee. It's important to differentiate the two because Blue Mountain coffee, as we said earlier, is grown above 3,000 feet, and High Mountain is grown below 3,000 feet. The history of Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee is long. It mirrors Jamaica's socio-economic development and takes root in the 1700s, as far back as 1700. However, the coffee sector that we know in Jamaica did not become an industry to be reckoned with until about a century later in the 1800s, where Jamaica was actually the principal coffee producing nation in the world at the time, exporting primarily to Europe. You could say that the coffee industry took over where the sugar industry started to decline under competition of England's new colonies, ironically, which also included India at the time. So fast forward to more recent times, Jamaica has really gone from being a dominant coffee producer in the 1800s to being a niche market specialty coffee producer with a relatively low annual production compared to the large commercial producers such as Colombia and Brazil, but with a high quality product that's among the most expensive coffees in the world, which retails for as much as 50 US per kilo. Jamaica's coffee market is one of the most structured markets and is governed by the Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, who basically issue the licenses to all the relevant stakeholders, which include farmers, exporters, importers, and brand owners who wish to market their coffee as Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee. Traditionally, the largest importer and buyer of Jamaican Blue Mountain Coffee is Japan, and this is not a recent development. The first direct export to Japan was sent off in 1952. And since then, it's grown from strength to strength, and Japan has really been the principal importer of Jamaican coffee. Probably around 80% of the output of Jamaican coffee is bought by Japan. And Japan also has been quite proactive in assisting with devastation from hurricanes in terms of providing relief to farmers and the rebuilding process. So they have a very close relationship, a relationship that's sometimes contentious, as having one main customer really allows them to dictate terms and prices to a large extent. However, Jamaica started to focus on demand from other growing markets, and we certainly hope to achieve some dividend in this arena. To give you a sense about the scale of the industry, we're talking about roughly a mere 340,000 kilograms of coffee exported in the 2019-2020 crop year, representing a value of about 9.5 million US dollars. To give you a perspective, Brazil, for example, is the largest coffee producer and produces what I call commercial grade coffee, typically at a price below $2 per kilo. And as I said earlier, Jamaica Blue Coffee can retail up to $50, between $35 and $50, depending on the market and the various market trends that obtain. These two coffees are traded, the way they're traded is vastly different. One operates on a mercantile exchange like the stock market, while Jamaica, being a specialty coffee, is purchased directly from an exporter at an agreed individual value. So essentially, having us all here today, one of the things to note is that all of our coffee industries are vulnerable on a number of levels and are particularly impacted by the ravages of climate change. This includes tropical storms and hurricanes, excess rainfall, but also drought, which fuels forest fires, which damage a great deal of the coffee output. There's also, as I mentioned earlier, the price fluctuations that have at times been so drastic that they've taken players out of the market. There are, of course, your traditional pests of your agricultural pests, berry borer, leaf rust. Pradial larceny is a factor where people are actually stealing coffee from the farmers. And last but not least, a very significant threat is that of counterfeiting. Given that Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee fetches one of the highest prices on the market, and is a well-known brand, just like, say, Gucci or Rolex or any other luxury brand, just like those luxury brands, they attract counterfeiters, trademark infringement, and brands fraudulently marketing under the Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee brand without ever buying from a Jamaican exporter. Several other specialty coffee origins have this problem. And whilst the government regulatory body, JACRA, is doing what they can through traditional routes, some of the more pioneering coffee exporters are looking to technology to protect their interests. So this is where I would like to just raise a very interesting point as it relates to the coffee industry. Before doing so, though, I'll share with you a personal experience that relates to the counterfeiting of coffee, because I was once in charge of sourcing non-traditional markets for Jamaican exports, and among our product offering was coffee. And I'll never forget, we of course have the Blue Mountain Coffee Day celebrated internationally on January 9, and I set about having a tasting for the coffee. And I won't mention the country, but an individual came up to me and was very disparaging said, oh, I'm not going to drink any of that. I've tried it before and it's terrible. And I could not for the life of me understand what this gentleman was talking about. It turned out that he had been a victim of fraud because he had been made to taste a coffee which was called Blue Mountain Coffee, but obviously had nothing to do with Blue Mountain Coffee. So once I was able to assist him across that perceptual threshold where he was able to taste some genuine Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee, he understood where we were coming from. So it's interesting that I mentioned now that we're talking about technology, how Jamaican coffee farmers are using technology to protect their interests. So there is one particular coffee farm which stands out in this regard, and this is the Sherwood Forest Coffee Estate. It's one of the original coffee estates from the late 1700s and is still in production today with approximately 300 acres up in the Sherwood Forest, which is one of the largest coffee estates in Jamaica. And they control all stages of the coffee supply chain, from farming, processing, roasting, packing, to export coffee all over the world. I failed to mention earlier that a large quantity of the Jamaican coffee exported is as green beans. And of course, for those of you in the industry who know, roasting of coffee is a highly specialized practice, and this is the value added, if you will. So this is an important aspect of the business. So under new management, Sherwood Forest Coffee Estate is quickly becoming one of the game-changing estates in Jamaica that's pioneering data tracking at farm stage and providing coffee traded on a newly introduced blockchain platform. We've all heard about cryptocurrencies, and this is similar but for coffee. So why a blockchain in supply management? Well, basically using a blockchain in general is not a new concept, but obviously the application here is what makes all the difference. Blockchain technology is used because it allows the exporting entity to create a digital replica or twin of each barrel of coffee, a so-called, what you might call a non-fungible token. This is a series of data that cannot be altered or edited, but simply enriched and exchanged based on certain pre-described parameters. And what this does is it mitigates against counterfeiting or fraud, ensuring that when a specific barrel is exported with a specific ICO and unique tag, then this cannot be replaced by inferior products and can be verified by each player at every step of the supply chain. So the farmer essentially can track the product literally from the farm to the cup, which is tremendously important. So Sherwood, why does blockchain technology matter in this Jamaica case study and other specialty coffee regions? Well, to start off with, Sherwood Forest is in partnership with a Silicon Valley-based blockchain development company. And what they've done, they've created a platform called Verified and True. And what this will do is essentially provide a streamlined infrastructure for exporters and farmers to trace and prove the specific origin of their coffee, as I said, by tagging and labeling all exported coffee. All participants in the supply chain can verify the authenticity of that coffee all the way through to the end user. With a serialized QR code, they can enter a PIN and view all of the relevant information about their coffee product. The blockchain technology will also allow the regulatory body to perform and make more efficient all their procedures around coffee export and manage all the stakeholders' access to the Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee supply chain with the purpose of closing off access to counterfeiters. This will lead to an increase in GDP, as well as Jamaican exporters now can satisfy the actual demand rather than part of the demand being satisfied by counterfeiters. It provides sovereignty in terms of data of our own coffee niche by tagging all the products exported from a country such as Jamaica. That tagging of all retail products means that the exporting country will have a wealth of data on the actual end user market that is unparalleled and invaluable in making policies and marketing decisions. This type of data should really not be in the hands of importers and roasters and overseas entities. It's in the hands of the exporters and the farmer. So it creates real value and closes the gap between the farmer and the end user. Fourthly, it offers a stable cryptocurrency payments, which are instant low cost, and 100% reliable. So you don't have to go through the whole business of letters of credit and delays. It is instantaneous. And it, of course, reduces, again, as I said earlier, the risks that exporters take in terms of fulfilling contracts with new customers where coffee is paid on presentation of documents. Those terms often offer a challenge in that there is a small window of time in which the funds have to be received before the shipment is out of the exporter's control. Fifthly, the system functions as an enterprise management system for specialty coffee region and can be modified to ensure data relevant to governments, agricultural programs, funding, monitoring, so that it all can be accessed efficiently. So to give you a sense of what this looks like in terms of a typical scenario, an exporter ships via this blockchain platform to an importer who exchanges it with a roaster via the same platform. That roaster gains access to a serialized QR code, which is then used on their package, and they can market themselves as a blockchain verified coffee brand. The end users, scan the retail products that they buy and realize that the products are verified on this authentic platform and can confirm that the product is true and authentic. They pick that brand over one that is not verified. So obviously, this is where the counterfeiters start to lose access to the market. Over time, the exporting nation will build up a heat map of end user scans and realize and identify emerging markets. They can deploy marketing funds to grow that marketplace. They can invigorate stagnating markets as needed, and work even closely with brand owners that are doing exceptionally well to apply best practice across the board for everyone's benefit. Finally, coffee authorities will be able to build on a solid blockchain platform that is low cost and provides additional avenues for connectivity between farmers and stakeholders in the industry. Features can be enabled to provide tools to report different issues, such as occurrence of leaf rust, which we spoke of earlier, with a geolocation enabled. They can also speak to the theft, incidences of theft, losses, etc. So all told, Jamaica really is a phenomenal place, and with many attributes that present it as an excellent prospect for investment in general, but Indian investment particularly in the field of agri-technology, agri-tech. And with that, I'll just leave you with those thoughts. And of course, please feel free to contact us. You can get our contact information from the organizers. And if you need any further information about blockchain or about Sherwood or even about purchasing or acquiring, how you may be so lucky as to have some Jamaican coffee in your cup in the morning or evening, as I do here now, feel free to contact us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. First of all, I would like to say this was a very enlightening talk on how you can utilize technology in the business of commodities. Trust me, it was definitely enlightening for me, at least, and I'm sure so goes for all the specialty coffee traders and all the specialty commodity traders that we've been having around us, and the business of counterfeiting, especially when it comes to premium products and something that is like a commodity which is very difficult to trace. So this is something which is definitely of interest to all of us. And going about talking about having Jamaican coffee in the morning, I'm sure we're going to give you lots of such opportunities very soon so that you can have it with us in India with a lot of people. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you so much. With this, I would like to bring upon something going from technology and speciality to going from to the heart, to the passion of coffee. And what more would it be than bringing the coffee from Guatemala? Bringing about the coffee from Guatemala brings about the heart of the Guatemalan people. I would like to welcome His Excellency Giovanni Castillo, the Ambassador of Guatemala to India, to this forum. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Distinguished members of the Indian Chamber of International Business, distinguished members of the Coffee Board of India, coffee lovers, colleagues, ambassadors. Thanks for the opportunity you are giving me It gives me a great pleasure to say a few words on behalf of the thousands of coffee growers from Guatemala. I will not start saying where Guatemala is located. I am sure that all of the participants know, geographically speaking, where my country is situated. This is because anyone who is fond of a good quality coffee has to know our location in the coffee world. Guatemala has exported coffee since 1853. 168 of the 200 years of independence life we have been linked to coffee, a noble product which currently generates more than 500,000 jobs annually and is recognized worldwide for its quality and origin. High altitudes, active volcanoes, the more than 300 microclimates, different soil types, consistent rainfall patterns, 98% shade growth are unique factors which makes the Guatemalan coffee so special. Crisscrossing mountain ranges allow coffee to be grown in most regions of Guatemala. The finest coffee is cultivated from 4,300 to 6,500 feet above sea level. The presence of major geographic influences like the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, largest crater lakes, flat plains, and high mountain ranges altogether combine to create more than 300 microclimates in an area of 42,042 square miles. These microclimates contributed to the distinct profile of each region's coffee. Every coffee expert knows that a consistent rainfall is critical for coffee plantations. In Guatemala, this weather phenomenon is not only plentiful, but varied. Annual averages range from 32 to 200 inches, falling with a well-defined rainy season. These facts I just mentioned, along with others with more technical details, better handled by experts, have given us the opportunity to identify, define, and coin 8 coffee regions, each one with their own characteristics, each one already well recognized in the world of coffee. Acatenango Valley marked acidity, fragrant aroma, balanced body, and clean and lingering finish. Antigua Coffee, elegant and well balanced with a rich aroma and very sweet taste. Traditional Atitlan, delightfully aromatic with bright citrus acidity and full body. Rainforest Coban, distinct fresh fruit notes, fine, well-balanced body, and pleasing aroma. Fraijanes Plateau, bright and persistent acidity, aromatic with defined body. Highland Wewe, fine, intense acidity with a full body and pleasant wine notes. New Oriente, well balanced and full bodied with a chocolatey flavor. And Volcanic San Marcos, delicate floral notes present in aroma and taste, pronounced acidity and good body. Even though India is the 7th largest producer and exporter of coffee in the world, above Guatemala, which ranked 10th, the main destinations of coffee of Guatemala's coffee exports in the last harvest were United States of America, 37% of the total exported, Japan with 14%, Canada, 11%, Belgium, 7%, Germany, 5%, Italy, 4%, South Korea, 4%, People's Republic of China, 3%, Republic of Taiwan, 2%, and Malaysia, 2%. In the past crop, we have exported 3.19 US dollars, millions of dollars, which equals to coffee sacks. More than 657 millions of dollars comes from coffee, from our coffee exports, which is the same, as I will say, equals the 5.6% of the total of our exports. I will end by saying that the natural richness that Guatemala has is a paradise for coffee production. And it is one of the most important keys to the market regional differences that make coffee, Guatemalan coffees, truly unique. I wish to all the participants in this conclave the best of success. It is my hope that at the end of this event, the very well appreciated Guatemalan coffee will have the opportunity to hit the Indian market. As we spoke with Mr. Singh and Mr. Raja, I reiterate the willing of the Guatemalan embassy to work closer with any Indian entrepreneur. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you so much for so much valuable information on Guatemala. And I'm very happy that you did not tell us where it is located because we are supposed to do it. So thank you so much for that. And with this, the kind of information that you shared, the value proposition, and the details about the coffee from Guatemala. So I would like to thank, and I assure you that there's a huge market, not only in India, but also all over Southeast Asia, where India can behave like a processing hub for all the world's coffee and to access to people and places where there is a different way to approach. India being in the Southeast Asian continent, we are well versed with this part of the world. We would love to bring South American and Central American coffees to this part of the world. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Coming closer to home now, I would now like to bring about the Indian perspective, what India can do, what Indian coffee can do, and how best we can work together on the global platform. I would now like to invite Dr. K. Baswaraj from the Coffee Board of India to present his views on the Indian coffee perspective, the scenario, and what we can do differently. Welcome, Dr. Baswaraj.
Thank you, Manfred. And respected dignitaries and my dear friends, I will present a small gist about Indian coffee and Indian specialities from Coffee Board. So I will just start with a little bit of information with some presentation and pictures so that it will be very clear for you people after seeing the presentation. So I will. Now I request all the dignitaries, you are seeing my presentation on the screen?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, then I will continue. Okay. So thank you once again. And I'm Dr. K. Basavaraj. I'm basically a Joint Director of Research, and now I am consultant for Coffee Board. And on behalf of Coffee Board, I am presenting a topic called Coffees of India. So the coffee came to India in the 17th century. A Sufi saint called Baba Budani brought 7 Arabica seeds from Makkah and planted in Chandragiri hills of Chikmagalur district. And from the early 19th century onwards, British entrepreneurs started cultivating the coffee more scientifically. So now coffee is fifth largest coffee exporter and the seventh largest coffee producer in the world. The seventh, we are having this fifth coffee exporters because of we are importing a lot of coffees and converting into instant coffee and value-added coffees and exporting to other countries. That is our strength because we are becoming more of instant coffee manufacturing hub, and a lot of the other countries are using this and exporting coffees to India, and we are re-exporting. That's what we are having the more of export than the production. So you can see last few years, 7 years, we have produced the coffee like this, the production. And in 15 and 16, we can see the 348,000 tons. That is the highest one. And afterwards, it was 3-4 years, it was stabilizing. And then in 2019 and 20, so there is a declining in coffee production because of various climatical factors, excess of rain, drought, and so many other factors. Now this year we are expecting a very good crop of 348,000 tons. That is what we are estimated post-monsoon estimation. Even it may exceed also. This is an estimation what we have done more scientifically. This is what our production in India. And then we are growing coffee in Western Ghat. The Western Ghats originates from Sri Lanka and enters into the west, all along the west coast of India, and also it is dividing and going from the south to north as the east coast, along with the east coast as an eastern Ghat. But the Western Ghat constitute 5% of India's land. That's a very big area we are growing coffee. And coffee grown predominantly under the shade trees. As a result, the tree covers in Western Ghats is protected. We can see the lush green coffee plantation in Western Ghats, and the Western Ghats and these plantations are home for vast diversity of insects, amphibians, reptiles, mammals, and birds and bats. And coffee agroforestry supports higher diversity and abundance of birds. A large-bodied frugivorous, they are fruit-eating birds, were found in much higher densities in coffee, and these birds play a very important role of coffee, the seed dispersal and maintenance of forest trees in these regions. So we are having some pictures of those birds we have taken. In the pictures, you can see the diversity. And in the next slide, I will just, in one slide, I just try to see that I will present all my coffee, the unique features of coffee. So we are growing coffee under the canopy of two-tiered mixed shade, and the entire coffee is hand-picked because we are growing coffee in slopey hills, and then we can't use mechanized harvesters or something. And then entire Indian coffee is sun-dried. We are getting plenty of sunlight during the drying season, and total coffee is sun-dried. And our coffee is mostly grown at higher altitudes above 1,000 meters and above, and nurtured by rich soils, mountain streams, and filtered sunlight. Because of the shade-grown coffee, two-tier shade, the direct sunlight won't enter, but we are regulating the shade and allowing the filtered sunlight for photosynthesis and the development of fruits. That's what we are doing for increasing the productivity, because we have to sacrifice both productivity and quality by regulating the shade trees. And our entire coffee plantations are in forests. Along with the forest ecosystem, we can see diverse ecosystem with rich flora and fauna. And apart from that, because we are growing coffee along with forest, and we have to maintain the ecosystem balance, and we are adopted eco-friendly cultivation techniques. So we are adopted these pollution control mechanisms and so many other things, so that we can also protect the nature, and we are not polluting our rivers and water streams. That's what we adopted all this. And finally, because of all these attributes, we are having a very good beans are dense, full-bodied, slightly acidic with exciting aroma. So finally, we get excellent quality coffees. So some of the Arabica varieties we are growing here, when the Saint Baba Budan brought 7 coffee beans from Ethiopia, it is a naturally it is a typica variety and started growing wildly in our natural conditions. And the British planters when started planting, one of the coffee planter called Kent's, he selected one natural variety. It's named popularly as a Kent's variety that is started growing earlier days. It was very good body and good acidity and flavorful coffee. From that, we derived one more variety called Selection 795. The Selection 795 is the most popular variety. 70% of Arabica we are growing with this variety, which is a very good bold beans and a superior quality balanced cup with subtle flavor notes of mocha. That is the widely grown variety in India. So we are also having different selections according to the region. We selected going for our plant breeding programs according to the regions where the drought conditions and soil condition and ecosystem. So for regional adaptation, and we are breeding the different breeding programs I'm selecting. And one of the selection we selected is Selection 9. It is a standalone variety. It's a standalone variety means we need not blend. We can use this coffee as it is. Especially today, most of the Europeans are using the straight away the coffee brewing pour overs and all, Chemex and all that. This coffee is very excellent for that type of coffee, single origin coffee, single variety. It is normally a bluish green, good body and distinct flavors. The recently, few years back, we introduced a new variety called Chandragiri. Very excellent taste, intense aroma, sweetish, citrusy acidity, hint of dry resin aroma characters, and characteristics taste of exotic Indian fruits with wild flavors. These are the Arabica characters and some of the varieties which are growing. I'm explaining only the main varieties. There are some of the varieties are adopted for different regions also. We are producing finest Robustas in the world. And there are the two varieties I am highlighting. The oldest variety is called as the Peridinia variety. From that, we have evolved a selection called Selection 274. It is a very high yielding and bold and round beans with a grayish appearance. Sometimes it's a bluish also in after processing. And there is one more variety we evolved, which is very, very popular in India and also in an export market across Europe because of the cup quality characteristics. It is the interspecific hybrid developed by crossing Coffea congenesis and Robusta, which has a soft and neutral features in the cup, and it is more of a sweetish. Sometimes it is acidic, and some coffees, washed coffees of this variety, taste like Arabica coffee. So what is the unique character is of Indian Robusta is that we are comparatively in other coffee producing countries, we are producing Robustas at higher altitude. Exceptional is Uganda. Uganda produces very higher altitude. And compared to other Robusta producing countries, we are growing, our Robustas are very high altitudes. And our strength is that we are having an excellent washing techniques. Our washed Robusta coffees are very popular in Europe, especially the people, those who are using these coffees in the espresso blends. So we are having a diverse coffee growing region. So we are growing coffee mainly in Western Ghat, that is South India. And initially I mentioned that Western Ghat is actually starting from the Sri Lanka, then enter into a Western side as a Western Ghat and Eastern side as a Eastern Ghat. But it is Eastern Ghat is a divided, it is not a continuous patch. So we are having coffee in an, Andhra Pradesh and Orissa that we are calling as a non-traditional area. And then we are having some of the coffees we are growing at northeastern parts of India, and each region there are 13 regional coffees, 13 regional coffees we are having, and each region we are having a trademark. The pictures of each picture is representing each regions like Nilgiris, Wayanad, Palnis, Manjarabad, Annamalais, like that. And we are also having a very unique specialty coffee. So one specialty coffee which only India is producing is called as monsoon Malabar coffees. And these monsoon Malabar coffees we are producing both from Arabica and Robusta varieties. And the uniqueness of this variety is that uh, you are actually, we are producing these monsoon coffees with the natural coffees only, not washed coffees. They are very unique with the neutral and mellow taste in the cup. That is the uniqueness of these coffees. And other than that, we are having washed Robustas called Mysore Nuggets. This a traditional type of specialty coffee we developed uh, long back and selling even now in the international market. It is a very popular Arabica washed coffee with bold beans and full aroma and good body and good acidity, a full flavor and hint of spice. That's the characteristic of this coffee. And we are having one specialty coffee in Robusta, called as Robusta Coffee Royal. This is a premium coffee grade in washed Robusta category, and it's very bold beans with very soft and neutral and clean cup, and we can get some sort of chocolate and malty and cocoa hints in this cup. Because of that, this is blended with espresso blends in Europe, and most of the people love to blend in espresso blends. So other than that, we are also having sustainable and specialty coffees like other countries. We are having estate branded coffees, organic coffees, fair trade rainforest certified coffees, high grown coffees. And we are having one more unique that we are selected some of the varieties selling as a specialty coffee. Of course, the sustainable coffees, other than that, these specialty varieties which are selling, which are by cup wise, they are very high ranking, like that of 80 plus as per the SAS scorecard. That is the Kent's, Agaro, San Roman, COC, that CM2R. These are the unique cup quality coffees which are selling under specialty coffee category. So overall, if you take the specialty coffee, what we are producing and exporting is around 5% of the Indian producer. But mainly that specialty coffee constitute monsoon Malabar coffee, because a lot of Europeans and Scandinavian countries are buying that specialty coffee. So we are also registered coffees under GI, intellectual property rights. So we are registered this monsoon Malabar coffee long back, and then now recently we registered five coffees under GI. One is from Arabica, Urk, Wayanad Robusta we are calling, and Chikamagalur Arabica, Araku Valley, that is an Arabica coffee. And then we are having one more Baba Budangiri's Arabica coffee. So these are the GI registered coffees. So this we are selling under sustainable coffee market and under specialty coffee market. And recently we also got a national award for these GI registered coffees also. Apart from this, we are producing large quantities of instant coffees, and our coffee, Indian coffee industry is rich in technical aspects of producing Indian coffee. Most of the coffee exporters, they are exporting coffee to the India and converting into instant coffee, and we are re-exporting at a zero duty, that is to other origins. So that is our strength of market. This is what I wanted to highlight some of the Indian coffees. Thank you very much for.
Thank you so much, Baswaraji. I mean, so much information on Indian coffee. I think even I have never had before being an Indian. So It was definitely an enlightening presentation on the types of Indian coffee and how we have been working towards having our own specialty varieties. Please do stay till the end for the question and answer session. Thank you so much. With this, I would like to invite Mr. G.D. Raja, who's the Vice President South Zone, for a perspective on how you can access the Indian market. Welcome, Mr. Raja.
Thanks, Mr. Mantri. Hope I'm audible. So I'm glad to welcome all the respected guests and dignitaries who have shown the interest to be a part of today's event. And my heartfelt thanks to all who have accepted our request. It's really astonishing to see how the ambassadors are well aware about the coffee market in their own territory. Hope they don't directly enter into the coffee business and compete with us. Similarly, Dr. Basavaraj sir has roasted and spreaded the Indian coffee flavor to the world. Now it's an embracing situation for me. I need to bridge these countries. Whether I have to speak for the the dignitaries, or I have to just speak for the Indian coffee. Anyway, it's an immense pleasure to share my views on the opportunities for specialty coffee and export potential in India. I'll just take into let me share a screen, a small PPT. It's visible? Until this is visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. ICIB welcomes you all to the world of coffee. Yeah, we are here, the World Coffee Conclave 2021. This is going to be an annual event. This will be conducted every year. Just coffees in India. Yeah. See, we have been known as a tea market. Like whenever we participate in any exhibition, the international exhibition of the coffee or world food exhibition, like when we say we have a coffee, the most of the people, the first question they ask is whether India is a coffee market, whether they produce coffee, because we have been like perceived as a tea drinking countries and it is a tea market. That is how it has been the perception from the outsiders. So albeit India is a tea market, considering the population, even the minimum share of coffee drinkers holds a major share in the coffee consuming people. And we are one of the top list from the coffee consuming people segment. See, as far as the coffee is concerned, I would like to bring a food habitual, what the Indians have. Though India is perceived as a single nation, but as far as the food is concerned, we have the two variants, South Indian and North Indian. From coffee perspective, in South India, the coffee is a habitual drink, consumed twice a day, usually with the milk. Whereas in North India, still it is a tea market, it's a tea drinking segment, where the coffee is treated as a lifestyle drink, mostly consumed in the cafeteria, this office cafeteria and coffee shops only. Yes, a tribute. In spite of being a competitor, I would like to thank and pay homage to Mr. Siddhartha on this occasion, who is solely responsible for spreading coffee flavor across India, who is the founder of the Coffee Day. When Indian coffee players like us were exploring the opportunity in offshore coffee market, he has discovered the real potential in Indian coffee market, how big the Indian coffee market size is all over. As a result, after the spread of a coffee chain in India, based on his effort, like the international coffee chains like Starbucks, Gloria Jeans, Costa Coffee, etc. has entered India. I take this opportunity to thank him. Yeah. Coming to the specialty coffee potential. See, it's a fast urbanization is happening in India. The IT professionals with the world exposure, as you're well aware, we are one of the high crowd of IT professionals in the world who has the Western culture exposure. So there is an opportunity for these people already got exposed in the specialty coffee market. And the craze towards the foreign products, always, right? There is a craze towards the foreign products as far as the Indian perception is concerned. When it is some product is imported from some other country, naturally we have inclined towards buying it. So this can be capitalized. Though it's a niche market, but still Indians are ready to pay triple the cost of Nescafe to buy a Davidoff or Lavazza. That's a very mind-blowing. We could not tap that such a premium market where easily the Davidoff already has taken the share. And the next one is the highest youngsters population with a new lifestyle. This is a this opens up a bigger market opportunity for the specialty coffee potential. Yeah. See, during the discussion I had with a few of the ambassadors, I found there is a bottleneck for a coffee imports. Only they have been considering on the high import duty and the lack of awareness on the specialty coffee. They worried whether the India has a market for the specialty coffee and the perception towards India as a tea market. They perceive that India as a tea market. Will it be like comfortable for the coffee growing countries to enter into the Indian market? And they fail to look into the premium niche market. See, as I discussed in the earlier side, there is a premium niche market, at least in the metros region, which is a within the niche market, the size is almost the population base is equivalent to a country's some other country's population. Yeah. See, I discussed with a few of the experts in the foreign trade. These are the solution which is available. Maybe like it is a small insights for the coffee growing countries and the ambassadors, like especially the Guatemala, Costa Rica, Jamaica, and the Ethiopian. See, the goods imported by a 100% EOU, like export oriented unit, are exempted from Indian import duty. So, like I've been thinking that the high import duty, that's 100% plus the import duty is a bottleneck for them to enter into the Indian market. So, I like to say that it is 100% exempted if it is a EOU. And second, similarly, if the unit is located in a special economic zone, SEZ, we call it as a SEZ, then also the import duty is exempted. And the third is a beautiful thing. See, the unit need not be a EOU as well as it need not be located in the special economic zone. Still, there is a concept called advanced license. See, any domestic unit can apply for this advanced license to get exempted from the import duty. What they need to just do, they need to declare what is the export potential they have got, what is the order they have in hand, they need to submit to the department, and straight away they can import without paying the import duty. This advanced license is valid for 18 months. Within the 18 months, these people has to process it and re-export. The value addition what the government is looking for is only 50% on the invoice value. For example, the imported value of goods is say $100,000. It is additional $15,000 is required on the bill value. This is the minimum criteria which is required. This will be like great boon for any of the foreign companies to get into the Indian market to promote their own coffee in India. Yeah, the benefits. Like when you're thinking about the specialty coffee, bringing it to India, the conversion cost is very less. As like Dr. Basura sir has discussed, the most of the instant coffee processing is happening in India because of the high technology which is available, as well as the conversion cost is low. Like we import the beans. Usually, usually the specialty coffee is not focused. In general, the beans are imported from Brazil or Indonesia or Vietnam. Only for the price factor, these beans are imported from these countries and processed in India and sold to the international market as instant coffee. Whereas, like there is a market available for the specialty coffee as well. Second, see geographical location advantage. See, like you can consider India as a central hub to reach the Asian market. Being a coffee producing nation as well as the coffee processing nation, it is a good market. It's a two-way advantage. One is it can be a hub to reach the Asian market, and second is considering the population, we can always focus the Indian market too. The third, though India is seen as a single nation, but there is a multiple states. The state-wise favorable policies. Each and every state we have a different government. Like for example, Delhi we have different government policies, Karnataka we have different policies, and Tamil Nadu we have different policies. Like when any countries want to come over here, for example, Costa Rica or Guatemala, anyone want to come over here, like they can just choose the particular state. Then the favorable policies can be decided upon based on any government negotiation. This is all the advantage. They can just choose a state. They need not be focused on a particular state. Based on the favorable policies, where the government is extending, they can choose particular state, whereas the market is open, they can just sell it across the entire nation. But to just set up the unit or to set up the basic operation, they have the liberty to choose a state based on the favorable policies. And there are many government schemes which is available, which will help us to get a grant, and there are many aids are available. Maybe if the people are interested, Dr. Basaraj sir is the right person to be contacted, and to explore more into the government schemes which is available in India. So I just take a quick synopsis of Dd Coffee. I myself belong to a coffee industry. We are one of the largest coffee player in India, one of the few coffee players in the world to have a complete coffee supply chain, right from the farm to the cup. See, we have a coffee estate, we have a coffee roasting unit, we have an instant coffee unit, we do have a fully automated coffee packing unit, and we have a coffee shop too. That's why I mentioned right from the farm to cup, we have the entire channel of coffee. And we are we have been doing the private labeling, and we have the concepts of drop shipping. Any country, like they like the drop shipping, it's well over, it is the latest, the technique is very much, familiar in the supply chain model, where the people need not store over there, we'll take the responsibility of the processing as well as the delivery mode. And we are very much open to the JV, and we have discussed with a few of the ambassadors. If any of the foreign nations, for example, the coffee players from Costa Rica or Guatemala or Colombia or Jamaica, any coffee producing nation, if they want to enter into the Indian market, or if they want to spread across the Asian market, they can choose a coffee player like me. They don't need to set up the additional investment. For example, they don't need to invest a huge capital over here. Instead, they can utilize the existing facilities, which is like a coffee player like me. There are existing facilities available, like instant coffee unit, or the roasting unit, or the packing unit. The small value addition is what the government is expecting. So these specialty coffee countries or coffee producing nations, they can look into the possibility of having a joint venture with the coffee players in India, which help them to just straight away just eradicate the capital investment. They just bring the coffee and process it, and either they can sell it in India or to the entire Asian market. This will be a good avenue. It can be thought about it.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
it. Thanks
Raja.
for your valuable time.
Thank you, Mr. Raja. Thank you so much. Yep. With this, we come to the conclusion of the presentations. We are throwing the forum open, but we would like to have the closing remarks from our Excellency Honorable Ambassador Claudio Ansorena from Costa Rica. Your Excellency, welcome to our forum today on the World Coffee Conclave. Can we have your closing remarks about Costa Rica and about the coffee from Costa Rica? Welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the Indian Chamber of Importers of Coffee. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's good morning from my side because of the time difference, because I'm in Costa Rica. It was an absolute delight to hear my fellow panelists who graced this occasion with their insights, remarks, and interventions about coffee, a bean or a water-soluble compound so essential to our lives for everyday functioning. I can assure you its value because I'm home in Costa Rica and it's 7:30 a.m. time for my first coffee of the day. As you may all know, and as discussed in length before me, coffee being the most consumed beverage in the world, only second to water. Therefore, to begin my vote of thanks, I would first like to thank modern day Yemen for this discovery and wish them a speedy recovery from their ongoing crisis. The legend goes that coffee was consumed by the Sufi saints in the monasteries in the Middle East, and coincidentally, Delhi, my home for now, was the last biggest bastion of Sufism in modern world. But moving ahead from the fun facts about coffee, now I would like to bring attention to the contemporary reality about cultivation and production of coffee in Central America, including my home country, Costa Rica. For us in Costa Rica and Central America, coffee is beyond a beverage. It's a lifestyle we cultivate, cherish, and commercialize. We are proud of being the producers of the finest gourmet coffee in the world. Costa Rica's coffee is demanded across the world, especially in the United States, where we export 48% of our production, to Europe, where we export 30% of our production, and now in Asian economies that we hope to increase our exports. We have 8 coffee regions of high altitude from 700 meters to 1,600 meters in Costa Rica, an area of 93,000 hectares of production area, 1,885,896 fanegas in the 2021 harvest. And we have 27,331 coffee producers, 303 mills, 96 exporters, and 56 roasters in Costa Rica. We have Export Coffee Institute since 1933, which controls quality with high standards. It researches varieties and transfers seeds to producers and administers the law of 1961 that regulates the relation between coffee farmers, millers, and exporters. In relation to our attempt to export to India, I have personally tried to introduce Costa Rican coffee. However, as discussed earlier, my attempts have also met the same fate as other colleagues. The exorbitant coffee tariffs are a major obstacle in coffee imports to India. This is affecting trade and on other ancillary products as well, and also denying Indian consumers some of the finest coffees from around the world. India also grows Arabica coffee. However, our elevation, soil, and nature enhances and changes the taste, adding to a wider portfolio of coffee taste. The same way that India produces apple and imports other varieties from abroad, coffee could also be imported this way. Coffee production has played a key role in Costa Rican history and continues to be important to the country's economy. In 2006, coffee was Costa Rica's #3 export, after being the #1 cash of crop export for several decades. Coffee production in the country began in 1779 in the Meseta Central, the Central Valley, which had ideal soil and climate condition for coffee plantation. Coffee Arabica, first imported to Europe through Arabia, whereas it takes its name, was introduced to the country directly from Ethiopia. In the 19th century, the Costa Rican government strongly encouraged coffee production, and the industry fundamentally transformed a colonial regime and village economy built on direct extraction by a city-based elite towards organized production for export on a larger scale. The government offered farmers plots of land for anybody who wanted to harvest the plant. The coffee plantation system in the country therefore developed in the 19th century largely as a result of government open policy although the problem with coffee barons did play a role in internal differentiation and inequality in growth. Soon, coffee became a major source of revenues, surpassing cacao, cocoa, tobacco, and sugar production as early as 1829. Since 1988, Costa Rica coffee farmers can only grow Arabica beans as mandated by government. This is the only country where a decree prohibits Robusta beans production, and it has helped Costa Rica become the 13th largest coffee bean producer in the world. With the country's longest history of and perfect growing condition, Costa Rica's exclusivity for sweeter and flavor variety has established its reputation for coffee beans in the highest quality. I would like to take this opportunity to highlight coffee and what may lie ahead of our dear coffee besides being a threat to us, spilling our cup of coffee forever. Climate change poses a major threat to the coffee industry. Rising temperatures will bring droughts, increase the range of disease, and kill large swaths of the insects that pollinate coffee plants. About half of the land around the world currently used to produce high-quality coffee could be unproductive by 2050, according to the recent study in the Journal of Climate Change. Another paper in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Science suggests that that number could be as high as 88% in Latin America. In conclusion, Thank you all the panelists, listeners, organizers for your time, and let's make Indian population taste the diverse quality of coffee around the world by lowering tariffs and allowing a higher level of quality of coffees to India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. Thank you so much. And first of all, I would like to thank you that you highlighted the point of climate change. And that's what really we need to consider. I mean, looking at some countries which were looking at commodities like sugar and how things have changed in the last 1 or 2 years, and the prices are shooting up, the quantities are going down. And climate change is a very serious issue. So thank you so much for highlighting that. That being said, one common point that we all have seen is the high tariffs. But I assure you that with such high tariffs, India has the appetite to consume expensive coffee, specialty coffee. I'm sure you do not want to become the mass market coffee, but I would love to see you on the palette of every table in India, all of you combined. I would love to have a morning like His Excellency Claudio with a cup of coffee from Costa Rica in my hand. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. With this, I would like to conclude today's formal engagements, and would like to invite our Vice President from Central Zone, Mr. Rajan Thaukar, for the formal vote of thanks, followed by the question and answer session. Rajan, can you unmute yourself, please?
Sorry. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion of World Coffee Conclave 2021, organized by ICIB in association with Coffee Board of India. I would like to thank Her Excellency Mrs. Mariana Pacheco, Ambassador of Colombia, His Excellency Jason Keats Hall, Ambassador of Jamaica, His Excellency Giovanni Castillo, Ambassador of Guatemala, His Excellency Claudio and Sorina, Ambassador of Costa Rica, Dr. K. Baswaraj, Coffee Board of India, Mr. Manpreet Singh Nagi from President ICIB, GD Raja VP South Zone ICIB. Most valued participants, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of ICIB and Coffee Board of India and on my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all speakers for gracing presence and sharing insights on coffee from their respective countries, use of blockchain to control counterfeit coffee, identifying bottlenecks, and making way to synergize. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to state that we all are grateful to all the speakers and participants on this webinar. We thank you for being with us this evening. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone. I request Mr. GD Raja to continue with the question and answer session. And we are unmuting everybody, but I request you all to please raise your hands, introduce yourself, ask your question, and please mute yourself again. So if anyone has any questions, they can unmute yourself. You can ask your question. Please do introduce yourself. The forum is open for questions. Please do let us know for which speaker the question is for. You're free to unmute yourself.
Boa tarde. Hello?
Yes, please go ahead. Yes, madam, please go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm speaking on behalf of Federação das Mulheres Empresárias de Angola. I'm Rosa Saba. So my question is addressed to all speakers. I would like to know, as Angola as being also a coffee producer, I would like to know what kind of supports we can have. As I had the opportunity to listen everything, all speakers, and I came to understand that the quality and the system that is implemented in these countries are high qualified. I would like to know if we seek support, in which areas would we could have support from these countries to boost up the coffee production and the export of our coffee.
Anyone would like to take that, please?
Yeah, madam, thanks for your question. What you can do, you can just send your, the profile, maybe to the ICIB email ID. What is the actual help you want? Like in terms of either to sell your product or you want to get it processed. And what is the area we're targeting? Are you targeting only to the Indian market or to the entire nation? Whatever, maybe if you're just looking for the other nation market also, you can just mail it across. Where if it is not Indian, it's not part of India, like no, we can just share it to the other country people and just get it connected. That's
okay. Thank you. So I could understand
Madam,
that.
but we'll be happy. We will be happy to support you. We will be happy to support you. We have our chambers presence in about 42 countries. So any technology, production related issues, marketing related issues, we shall be more than happy to support Angola in any kind of ventures.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any other questions from anyone? Raja, would you like to ask any questions to any of our speakers on behalf of the chamber?
I have a question.
The last question, please.
I have a question to Dr. Basaraj, sir. Like, is there any schemes from Indian government or any other policies which support the foreign nations to just get their product over here? I know there is a huge import duty tariff has been increased to protect our Indian farmers and Indian coffees. Other than that, is there any provision which is available to just bring at least the specialty coffee to Indian market from the other countries? Is there any schemes or policies available? If you could throw some light on it, it will be a great pleasure for me.
So thank you, Raja. Your question is very straight because you know the situation in India, and our government wanted to protect coffee growers because we are depending mainly on exports. Our 70% of production of coffee is going for export. That's what our duties are very high. In spite of this higher duty, because we are now going to develop an excellent coffee consumption in India. A lot of cafes are started. Coffee consumption is increasing. A lot of independent cafes and coffee chains are coming, and most of these people are already importing specialty coffees in smaller quantities, and they're started selling already in these cafes and coffee chains. And we are importing a lot of coffees specialities from Kenya, Colombia, and some Ethiopia and some of the countries. But this is a small quantity, and the major thing is that at zero cost import and re-export we are having a very good strength, because you know the technology, and most of the people are exporting coffee to India and converting the coffee into value addition, roasted coffee blends. Most of the people, even in European roaster, they are roasting in India and selling to other Asian markets. That not only instant coffee, even roasted coffee blends and other specialty coffees. And in this type of trade, we don't have anything. It is a zero import duty. You know that very well, and that is an advantage. One side is zero, and one side is special. Some duty is there that is to protect the coffee planters. But the people, those who want to set up a technology for roasting, for instant coffee plants and other things, we are having a good SEZs. Foreign direct investment is also there with the Indian partners. That is a area where they can use Indian people and start entering into the foreign direct investment and export the coffee to India and then convert and then they can market that one. If the one more biggest area is that it is the consumption is increasing, and we also allowed the FDI in the cafe segment also, and also in coffee curing segment, coffee processing segment. That is an advantage where they can come and establish their own business and own coffee chains. So that is an advantage. These are the at present things is there, but in at least for a few years, government of India may not reduce import duty, to protect coffee planters. That is the only one related to the coffee exporter producing countries. Other than that, other countries who want to enter into Indian market, Indian business, it is a very vast and big population of 130 crores population. And our production is not sufficient even for 1 month what India is producing if everyone consumes. So that means if you want to supply India, Brazil, and China, and even Russia, we require one more Brazil to produce one more huge quantity of coffee. That is the potential these countries are having, and everyone is aiming for Indian market. And the people, those who are wanted to interest in this type of market, lot of opportunities. Thank you
So much, and I would like to say thank you to everybody for being here with us today. And it was a great session. Honorable ambassadors, thank you for your time. Honorable dignitaries, all member associations from all over the world, from Vietnam, from Thailand, from all the other places. Thank you so much for being with us here today.